So, Daryl, I've got a question for you.
Would love to answer your question.
Are you familiar with Iowa State's quarterback?
I am marginally familiar, yes.
Do you know what his name is?
Brock Purdy?
Yeah. So is it fair to say that he's a pretty good football player?
I don't want to do this anymore. I quit the show. I'm leaving.
I hope not. I need a co-host.
Seriously, just say that.
I did.
You have to leave. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Game podcast. My name is Daryl. This is my co-host Spencer. Spencer, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How is everybody?
Man, everybody. I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. What did you have for breakfast today?
I didn't eat breakfast today.
It's a terrible answer, dude. You're supposed to lie and say you had something interesting.
Well, I woke up too late to eat breakfast.
I was gonna tell you that I had like an omelet or something.
I mean, if you classify the first
spinach.
If you classify the first meal of the day as what you ate for breakfast, then I had that new mac and cheese bowl from KFC.
Breakfast of champions right there.
Yes, sir.
To KFC, everything that's going on with Chick-fil-A and Popeyes right now, you chose to go to KFC.
Yes, sir.
Avoided it altogether and said, I'm not gonna draw a line in the sand. I'm just gonna go.
I mean, I've had both sandwiches, and
You really?
Yeah, I mean, they're both good. I no longer am a patron of Chick-fil-A for reasons I'm not going to get into on this podcast.
Well, we're aware of that, but like, which sandwich is better? I haven't had both. I've only had one.
They're both good, but I'm going to say Popeyes is better because it's the one I'm actually going to be eating.
Well, there you go. I was like, he's got to pick a side. You can't say they're both good.
Yeah, I mean, they're both delicious, but Popeyes is the one I'm actually going to be eating, so I'm going to pick that one.
We went to Popeyes this week, and I actually was in the parking lot, and I was like, Callie, let me out. I want to go get Popeyes. And so, because she was going to get Cane's. And so I like ran over there, and two police cars sitting in the parking lot. And then I got to the door, and there was a sign saying they were out. And I was like, are you serious? Like, it's such a peaceful little town.
Yeah, but they're... It's weird.
Was that big a deal?
I don't know who delivers their sandwich bread, but they're not good because I went twice and they were out of the bread to make the sandwich.
So, out of the bread.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know where
I don't
know where they get their bread from.
That'd be the easiest thing to keep in stock.
For real.
Well, speaking of not being able to keep bread in stock, tell me about Miami. What do we see this weekend?
That
wasn't a very good segue. Speaking of keeping bread and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what some of their players are going to be doing because they ain't making the NFL with the way they played.
That O-line's got to either get bigger or faster or both or replaced.
Yeah, because I don't know what was going on this weekend. We were both wrong. Like
I was not wrong. I told you. I was like, Miami's going to make it either a good game or they're going to win. I sat right here and said it.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a blowout. I thought Florida was going to wax them. I thought Florida was just going to...
You said they're only giving up 7 points? I was like, my boy, is it going to be close? And you're like, nah.
Yeah, dude, I thought Florida was going to toast them, but I was wrong about that. I was right about Florida winning the game, but I was wrong about Florida just torching them.
Bring it full circle by saying toasting them.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good.
I think it would have been, it was a ridiculous game. I think if it was a situation where either team, I think if Florida could have swapped out their DBs for like another stock of DBs and Miami could have replaced their offensive line with another stock offensive line, it would have been a much more textbook football game.
I agree.
Can you explain to me what happened? The play, so Miami gets the ball back. They have Florida gets the ball back. Miami just turned it over, and there's like 4 minutes left, and they've got their ball on their own like 30, and they've just got to kill 4 minutes. Felipe Franks comes out, rolls to the right, throws into three incoming traffic, three guys, gets picked. They take it back, and they're inside the 20. And then the camera pans up to Steve Spurrier, who's just sitting there like the disappointed dad.
Yeah, I mean...
What was that? What was the decision there?
I have no idea what was going through Coach Dan Mullen's face. Or his head. But Steve Spurrier's...
going through his face was very hot blood.
Yeah.
Popping blood whistles.
Steve Spurrier ran an offense called the Fun and Gun, but even he knows you're supposed to run the ball in the fourth quarter with a lead with 4 minutes left.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Like, it was a crazy game. I understand the mentality behind wanting to be unexpected. You want to come out and surprise them, and of course, you're thinking, yes, you're going to come out and run it, so the defense is ready for that. But at some point, you cross a line where unexpected is wrong.
Yeah.
Where you just need to come out and run the ball. Like, that is the play, and it just comes down to executing, not being unexpected. And if you don't feel confident enough to run the ball and get a first down and shave 2 minutes off the clock, then you have a problem. You need to be able to do that in that situation.
For real. Perfect example of that. Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl. You're on the 1 yard line. You've got the best running back in the league in Marshawn Lynch. Everybody knows you're going to run the ball, but the prevailing...
But he can do it.
Yeah, like the prevailing evidence goes, oh, they know we're going to run the ball, so let's do that. You overthought it. If they know you're going to run the ball, make them stop you.
Like Malcolm Butler, was it the guy that made the pick?
Yes, sir.
I will die on the hill that they made a decent call and that he just made the play.
I mostly agree with that, but because I've listened to a Pete Carroll interview about that, and he goes, I just think he overthought himself. Like, you had 1 yard to gain with Marshawn Lynch. You hand the ball off.
Yeah,
but
again, and it's one thing if it's like fourth down, but
yeah.
I think it was like second down. I think they had plenty of time.
It was first down. They had 4 downs to get that
first down. I don't know. I still will die on that hill that he made a good play, and I understand the play call.
Yeah, I mean,
right then Marshawn Lynch, everyone's going to crash. You have a guy run a little in route like that. I mean, he just jumped it and got it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never coached in a Super Bowl, and I never will. So, I mean, statistically, I probably won't.
Give up like that.
I mean, I probably won't.
Statistically.
Yeah, but I've never coached, so I can't talk about what led into those decisions. But
yeah, of course,
it's one of those situations where you're coming down to the wire, and it's the unfortunate side effect of if I do this unexpected play and it goes good, I'm a genius. If I mess up, I'm an idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Pardon me, I got a little scratchy in my throat there.
It's all good.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man, and it's exactly that. It's like if things go well, suddenly you're a genius, you're a hero. But yeah, I mean it's worth it, man. Honestly, with Marshawn Lynch, you could have ran it 4 times, but we could go. I feel like this is one of those topics that's been discussed ad nauseum. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Everyone's talked about that. Well, anyways, on to the next topic. Let's see. We talked about the Miami game. You have an interesting question that you posed to me earlier that I insisted you saved for the show.
Yes, sir. So here's your question, right? So, would you rather go 11-1 and the only game you lost be to your main rival, or would you rather go 1-11 but the only game you win is against your main rival?
It is a very thought-provoking question that I will answer without much thought. I would take the 11 wins, and it stings to lose to your rival. I understand that whole mentality. I would hate to have such a great year in A&M to go to the playoff and then lose it to Texas. I mean, that would really hurt. But I think I would rather that than just because, man, it destroys programs, man.
Yeah.
You go 11-1, you lose to your rival. Oh, that sucks. But you just had an 11-1 year, and you lost to your rival. That's a game that can go either way. I'm keeping the recruits. I'm keeping the momentum. I'm keeping a confident coaching staff. I'm keeping really the big thing is the recruits. You see a school that's successful like that, like Alabama or Georgia, and you go, yeah, if I go there, I'm going to be successful.
And I agree with everything you just said.
Right, but
let me play devil's advocate, which is something I hate doing. I hate the phrase, but I'm going to do it right here. Right. So, most rivalry games happen the last or second to last weekend of the season, right? You know, you were talking about UT versus A&M, right? So, that used to happen on Thanksgiving. So, I'm going to say that in some cases, I would rather be 1-11 and beat my main rival, because a loss at the end of the season looks a lot worse than a loss at the beginning of the season. So, and it's at the end of the season. So, like, oh, they were good, but they might have, because people think strength of schedule is an important thing. We're going to get into that later. But talk about, they lost to a team that didn't have any wins. You know what I mean? So, how good are they? Like, that stops people from getting into playoffs. That stops people from getting into bigger bowl games. Like, I just think it would be, like, crazy exciting for something like that to happen.
Yeah. I understand that. I mean, that I to a certain extent, that does make sense. But at the end of the day, man, you cannot take a season. I mean, even if you get the win at the end of the year, I don't think the mentality at the end of the year is going to be like, oh, yes, we ended on a good note. I think it's going to be like, it's about time that we got to win.
And I agree with you. I agree with every point you brought up. I just wanted to bring up that opposite point of, oh, let's ruin my rival's season. You know what I mean?
Of course. No, I get that. I understand that. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to think about, is if your rival loses to a team that hasn't won all year, that is, I mean, that's pretty mad lad right there.
It's insane.
You know what I mean?
It's great.
Guys, I have a plan. Boys, we're going to lose all year, but we're going to be, really what we're going to be doing is hustling, okay? We're hustling our rival.
Like that Drake and Josh episode back in the day when they pretended they were bad at pool so they could beat people and win money.
But it was only Josh, though. Josh was good. Drake was not good. He was like his manager. He was tricking him into hustling for him. He was like, let's go easy on these guys.
Yeah.
You don't remember that? You just thought they were both good?
I don't remember. I just remember that episode specifically.
Brush up on your Drake and Josh lore.
I do.
Graceful,
but
almost as bad as your Ben Prudy. What is it? Pun.
Yeah, yeah. So I just thought that was a good question, good topic to talk about.
I like that. That's a very like sitting over beer question and kind of talking about it. I like that.
Yeah.
So,
what's up?
The thing I want to talk about was the new. Oh crap! Hang on, gotta fix the thing. No big deal. Accidentally clicking off of this screen. Okay,
it's all right.
The thing I wanted to talk about was the new cams that they're using in college football now, which they sort of debuted on the Miami-Florida game. Delicious idea. They have these. If you didn't get a chance to see the game, there's two new cams they're using. One is the ref cam. So literally, if ref makes a call, they can. They basically have, what is it? What are those things when you like go kayaking and you have them on your head or whatever?
Like a GoPro.
GoPro. Thank you. Yes. They have a GoPro on their hat. I'm assuming it's a GoPro, but either way, they have a camera attached to their head, so you can actually see exactly what they saw. From their perspective, which I think is a really good idea. I don't think it's going to be a huge game changer, because I think that I don't think it's going to be like a new angle from which to people for the booth to review from, because I think you're going to see the exact same thing that the ref already saw. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I think that's the future. Like,
I think
you want to get the call. You want to get the call right. I think the NFL is gonna adopt that eventually.
Exactly, and I'm a big fan of that. And I think another thing that it does is, even if it doesn't really help in the booth, it's going to help the fan, the couch coach, sitting there getting angry about the call, have sort of a more empathetic view. Like, what were they looking at? You can actually see that now. Okay, I can see how they would see that as pass interference. I can see how they would see that as, Yeah. So, but what I think will be interesting is, I could see is those times where there's like a false start or like an offsides that doesn't get called. And I would love to be in the booth and go back and review what the ref saw but failed to call. It's like you were looking directly at it, Bob.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
How did you miss that? So I think that'd be an interesting thing.
Yeah,
that's actually something I would love for them to have in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine the umpire having that? You know,
that'd be great. So you could see strikes and balls. That'd be beautiful.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Another thing that I think should happen is if after a game, if there is a controversial referee call decision, after the game, the referees hold a press conference. They talk about what they saw, what they didn't see, why they made the call that they made. Because they're only human. They're going to make mistakes every once in a while. But if they have this GoPro on their hat and they have this press conference after the game, they can talk about what they saw, what they didn't see, why they made the decision that they made. And it stops referees from getting death threats because that's insane. Nobody should be sending referees death threats on the internet.
100%. Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things, man, where there's a level of discretion with referees, you know, where it's maybe something is technically a call, but it is sort of a gray area. And I mean, I agree, man. I think the more that you can do to help them learn and get better at making the calls and have reasons to justify why they made the calls they did, I think it's going to help a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, it's also going to be just people stop being such freaks about and so angry about everything.
Yeah,
but that'll never happen. That's asking a lot.
Yeah. Another thing I liked, I know you said you were going to talk about them, was the line to gain cams. I like those a lot too.
Ooh, I like those now. That's the Wile E. Coyote cam. You know what I mean?
I like those a lot.
Yeah, that kind of remind me, and it's very different, but it kind of remind me of if you remember the old WWE ladder matches back in like the early 2000s when they would put the camera facing down over the ring.
Yes,
like from where they would hang the belt. You know, and for non-wrestling fans, it's basically just like a blimp if you were looking directly down at the ring. Such a cool perspective. But yeah, and that just is such a beautiful thing in football because you get to see exactly where the ball's at. You get those awesome moments where they crash into the pylon, you know?
Yeah. The pylon cam is great too. We've had that for a few years though.
The pylon cam is fantastic. I've known about that. That's very, very nice.
And with these referee cams, eventually there's going to come a time where a referee's in the middle of a play trying to make a call and he gets completely wiped out, and that footage is going to be amazing. I can't wait for that. I don't wish any injury on any of these referees, but he's going to get knocked down eventually, and it's going to be 100%. Funny.
Yeah, that's going to make for some good television. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, sir.
Before I mess up the recording again, what is the next thing we got to talk about? It's the pick'ems, right? Or is there something else we wanted to touch on?
No, I mean, we could talk about the top 25, but we already, nobody's
kind of covered that.
Yeah, nobody's really moved. No one's.
Florida will be moving, though. We can guarantee that.
Yeah, they are not the number 8 team in the country. That's ridiculous. No. They did not play like a top 10 team.
It may be by year's end, and maybe it was an anomaly. Maybe they'll come out and they'll just destroy the next 5 teams they play.
Yeah, maybe it was some first game jitters, but I don't know.
Yeah, I will say I feel like they came into that game expecting Miami to just be,
Yeah, they thought like I thought.
They were listening to our They were listening to our podcast and thought, this guy thinks we're going to destroy him.
Yeah, they listened to it in a meeting. They put it on the screen and they were like, this guy might know what he's talking about. But yeah, I think they went into that game with the mentality that I had. They thought they were going to wax them, and they played to the level of their competition because I don't think Miami's very good, to be honest with you.
I like Jarren Williams. I think stud. He just needs a line, number one, and probably to go against some teams that are better matches for his line. But what I saw when I watched this kid was composure. That was the number one thing. I mean, he looked like golf like I do, but I mean, he looked like Dustin Johnson out there. Like something would happen, and he would just kind of shrug it off and keep going,
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's just that pitcher mentality of like, yep, just got to keep doing the thing.
Give me a team you think is going to surprise everybody this year. A team that no one's really talking to.
A team I think will surprise people this year.
A team you think is going to surprise people that no one's really talking about, that they're kind of under the radar, but you think they're going to have a really good season. and they could shock some people.
Not doing any research on this. This one's not really fair because people are talking about them. But I want to say Michigan, and I don't really have any feelings, towards or away from Michigan. I know, Harbaugh's on the hot seat, but I just feel like because Ohio State no longer has Urban Meyer, I know this new guy. I think his name is it Ryan Day? I don't know. I think
Day.
That might be.
It's Ryan Day.
It's coming in. I don't know. Good. I think that if Michigan wins that game later in the year, it's going to be huge. And here's the reason I say that, because since he is on the hot seat, if you think about it historically, coaches that are on the hot seat tend to not do so hot. You think about Kevin Sumlin and having him being in a very tough spot, he's out. You think about what's his face, who was before Tom Herman,
Charlie Strong.
Hot seat, out of there. I mean, hot seats are generally not the best place to perform. Even Les Miles, hot seat, boom, out of there, and things worked out there for them. I don't like when coaches are on the hot seat because I don't think they tend to not be able to just sit and focus on the process. They have to suddenly focus on, we have to win now by any means necessary, and that doesn't produce a lot of results. I think Michigan this year could be an exception because Harbaugh suddenly has exactly who he needs in front of him. But I don't think many people are expecting it to go well because this Ryan Day guy is supposed to be good, and I think that Ohio State has a lot of the same systems. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think if Michigan wins that game, I think it's going to be a bigger deal than people are thinking about it.
Yeah. If Harbaugh wants to get himself off the hot seat, he has to beat Ohio State. Yeah. He can lose every other game of the season. As long as he beats Ohio State, he keeps his job. For sure. A team that I think is going to surprise people, and I've heard a few people talk about them, but not in the capacity that some other people are, is Missouri. They've got Kelly Bryant. They've got if you look at their schedule, they have a very favorable schedule. If there is a realistic chance that they go into their Week 9 game against Georgia undefeated.
I'll look up their schedule actually because I'm very curious now.
That sounds bold, but they get a very favorable schedule, and I think they have a chance to make some noise in the SEC East. Their toughest game before they play Georgia is West Virginia, but I don't think West Virginia is going to be very good this year because they've lost Will Greer. They've lost a lot of their other, they've lost a lot of their other
That will
talent.
Be a very good game, though.
Yeah, so I
think that's the signature win that he needs early on, Kelly Bryant. I think that's the win that he needs early on to say that, he can lead a team that he's sort of just coming in and adopting.
Yeah.
So not that West Virginia has an outstanding defense, but it's a family name team, like it's a household name team. I think if you can do that, that comes in handy.
Yeah.
South Carolina will be a really big test though, because Muschamp is going to be coming with his boys.
Yeah, South Carolina, they're always on one of those on the bubble teams. They always have a decent defense, and it's they're always one of those will they, won't they teams.
Or they're hanging their team and make a game out of it every game team.
Yeah, so I think that'll be a very good game, but those will be two big tests, but I don't think they're really going to be tested against any of these other teams until they get to Georgia. And, if they make a few right plays, they could beat Georgia. Because anybody, if they could beat Georgia and Florida, I think there's a realistic chance they go undefeated.
Oh, yeah, man.
So, I have them at most, best maybe, I don't know, 11-1, maybe 10-2.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get past Georgia, and I think, if I'm being honest with you, I think based on what I saw this weekend, it's very early, but based on what I saw this weekend, I think their biggest test is going to obviously be Georgia, but then it would be South Carolina. I really am big on their defense. Florida and may not be as big of a challenge as I thought they'd be, but let's be honest, when they get to Arkansas, my boy Nick Starkel is going to tear them to pieces. So, I don't know.
Arkansas, it's It's rough times for Razorback fans right now, man.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
They got a good quarterback. Nick Starkel's good, but it's rough times for them right now, man.
It'll be another 10 years before you really see them big and bad again. But no, I like that. That's a good one, man. I like Mizzou. Good pick there, buddy.
Yeah. So let's pick them. Let's talk about some games.
All right, let me see here. So, what is our first one there, Spencer?
Give me we're going to do Duke versus Alabama. Who's winning that game?
Well,
from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh man, why are they playing in such a nice place?
I don't know.
The occasion on that. I'm trying to find it on the screen so it complements what we're talking about. Hang on.
Yeah, it's up there.
Is it a Saturday game or a Friday game?
Saturday game at 2:30 on ABC. It's right in the middle of the screen.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think the question isn't whether or not Bama's going to win, but whether or not they cover.
I don't know what the spread is.
Got it real quick. I'm pulling it up. They are giving them. Let me go to the schedule.
But I'm gonna tell you this: Duke's got 2 chances to beat Alabama, slim and none, and Slim left town.
I agree with you, man. There we go. Finally, I got it pulled up. I don't know, man. They're giving Duke a 3.7% chance to win. So
they're not going to though.
Well, Tua is gonna have to sneeze on 3 passes. He's gonna have to catch diarrhea before the game, and Saban is gonna have to have his Wi-Fi down for a week for them to have any hope here. They're giving a 35-point spread. I think they cover it, to be honest with you.
Oh, they're covering that easily.
They cover it.
They're going to score 50 plus.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, that'll be a gully washer right there.
Yes, sir. Give me one.
Tell me about Navy and Holy Cross.
Oh yeah,
just Navy. Because I know you're big on Navy.
Yeah, Navy's not going to be very good this year, but they're going to win that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I figured they would probably hold it out too, just because I know very little about Holy Cross, but
yeah, FCS school, Catholic school, but yeah, Navy's gonna get them. Tell me about James Madison in West Virginia, Daryl.
Oh wait, where? Oh, like the school, James Madison. I was like, James Madison came back from the dead. He made a team.
The school, James Madison.
Okay, I see it now. And West Virginia.
Yes,
I think
sir.
West Virginia's gonna run all over him. Honestly,
I think you're wrong.
Really?
Yes, James Madison is one of the best teams in the FCS. West Virginia's losing all their players. James Madison recently won an FCS national championship. I think James Madison wins that game handedly. I think James Madison's going to go into Morgantown and pull a shocker.
They're giving him a 26% chance.
They
haven't given us a spread. Vegas doesn't care.
Yeah, but James Madison's going to win that game.
You know what? I'm going to pick West Virginia because I learned from last week not to get too crazy with my picks, but I hope you're right. I hope they pull it out.
Oh, it's Crazy Pick Central over here all day.
Yes. What is the acronym for that? CPC?
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy to be wrong.
Hey, let me get your opinion on South Carolina and North Carolina. I'm sure that's called something bowl.
I don't know if that's actually called anything, but
it has to be. You mean it's not the Carolina Bowl?
I don't know what it's called. But yeah, give me South Carolina. SEC team, Mac Brown's first year in North Carolina, doesn't have all the pieces in yet. Give me South Carolina.
I like South Carolina too. As you heard just a minute ago, I'm really big on their defense. I like what Muschamp's doing there. Again, I don't think they're going to be a team that's going to rock the world, but I do think they're going to be a team that every game at least. They're never going to get just mauled. The game by more than like 13. Yeah, I like them. Although I'd be interested to see what Mac Brown could do long term.
Yeah. I love Coach Brown. Something that, some of our viewers may not know about the both of us. We both grew up big UT fans because that was kind of really all we knew. And so I like Mac Brown from back then. I think he's a great coach, but he's just going to take a few years to get his system and all his pieces in place at North Carolina.
Did you know that a team called the Portland State Vikings? I'm sorry to cut you off from your.
Yeah, they're great.
Really
I like Portland State.
Really?
Their their logo's great. Their uniforms are great. That green and white.
Clean.
That green and white scheme is real good. I like them.
Yeah.
So tell me about Houston at number 4, Oklahoma on Sunday.
Boy. You're just hopping right into it, huh?
Yes, sir.
Boy, this is a game I'm really looking forward to because it's one of those like what I would call like a shuffle game. Like there was a time I remember I went to the A&M UCLA game whenever they played in College Station, and I remember leaving the game and then checking my phone and seeing that Tom Herman at U of H had beat Oklahoma. I don't know that Lincoln Riley was the coach there yet, but I remember U of H beating Oklahoma and being like, oh wow, like this guy's for real. And of course now he's at Texas and he's earned that. But this is one of those cool games where you get the total role reversal.
Yeah.
Wait, what am I talking about? He's not the coach. What am I doing? What am I talking about? He's the coach at Texas.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought, but you get the idea. It's you're getting to see a similar situation, but you sort of get to factor out a coach.
Yeah.
You look at U of H without Tom Herman in it, and suddenly the odds are stacked against Houston.
Yeah, but they've got Dana Holgorsen now. They've got De'Aaron King, which is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Nobody's talking about Houston right now. I think Houston's going to have a very good season. I think the American Athletic Conference is going to have 3 teams that make noise in the top 25. I think it's going to be Houston, Memphis, and UCF. I'm taking Houston in this one.
Come on.
I'm taking them to pull the upset.
Skip. Come on, Skip.
I'm taking them to pull the upset, man. Crazier things have happened. I know Oklahoma's number 4, but, I think they might come out little first game jitters. I think Houston gets it done.
I mean, I don't know. I would like to see. I would like to say that can happen, and honestly, I think it can happen. U of H, as we've talked about before, is like a pseudo Big 12 school, just because of the amount of talent that they recruit, and being in Texas, they have access to a lot of people. But I just don't see it. I see Oklahoma coming out, trying a lot of things, really opening up their playbook. They could get in a situation where they're sort of like Florida was in this weekend, where they come out and they think they're just going to run all over them. But given the history of...
And that's what's going to be their downfall.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So, well, no. Are you saying like that's going to be Oklahoma's downfall?
Yes.
I'm saying I think that they're going to be sober to that because they know... I mean, granted, Tom Herman's not there, but they know what's happened in the past with that. Yeah. So,
but Dana Holgorsen,
thinking they're going to go, okay, the U of H, we need to,
Yeah, Dana Holgorsen's an offensive genius. New job. He just came over from West Virginia. I'm taking Houston in this one. I know they're in Norman, but that's going to be a big time upset. It's on a Sunday night. Give me Houston.
I see it being. It's either going to be a game where Houston's in it and they're really feeling good, or it's going to be a game where they play and it just gets uglier and uglier.
Yeah. But think about it too. Oklahoma. Oh, I mean, obviously. But think about it too. The whole college football nation is going to be tuned into this game because it's the only game that day. It's on Sunday at 6:30. So I think all eyes are going to be on this game, and I would love to see Houston pull this one out.
I'll be watching it as I draft my 2 of my fantasy leagues because I have 2 drafts that night. So
really, I'm not doing fantasy this year.
It's a time drainer. I gotta say, I shouldn't be doing it, but I'm gonna do it because why not?
Yeah.
So let's see. We've done. Tell me about Auburn and Oregon.
Oh, that's the big game of the weekend. Yeah. Game day is gonna be there. Obviously, they're playing at AT&T Stadium in Dallas.
A big fat O.
Yeah, I don't. I think, like I said last week, I think Auburn's ranked a little too high. I wouldn't take them out of the top 25 because they're just unproven. That's what Auburn is. They're unproven, and I'm not sure.
I hear that. I mean, Auburn is. They're unproven this year, but Gus Malzahn is not unproven. He has a good way of making. How do I say this? He has a good way of putting together a season.
Oh, for sure.
If they start bad, they will use the gaps and finish strong, or they will start strong and then have a lull and come back.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to depend which sort of.
This is a make or break game for their season.
For their season, yeah, for the momentum, because it's either going to be the game where they have a huge wake up call and then they get really, really good later in the year, or it's going to be the game where they very well, and then they'll have a lull in the middle of the year, and then maybe they'll get it back. For A&M's sake, because they play later in the season, I'm hoping that Auburn wins, but and then they, A&M catches them in that lull. But I think Auburn gets it done. I think Oregon gets it done. And makes a show out of it. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Oh, this game's going to be high scoring. There's going to be a bunch of offense in this game.
You think so?
Yeah. Auburn's defense is good because, it's an SEC defense. SEC defenses are always good. But you've got Justin Herbert. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. He may be the number one pick in the draft next year. You got everything going. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think the Ducks get it done. So I'm going with the Ducks.
I see a game that starts out very slow. I think maybe one quick score from Oregon, and then Auburn tightens the gates, a couple field goals. I think they're going to go into the half both with single-digit scores. Mm-hmm. And I think in the second half, they really start to open up the offense. The defenses get tired. A lot of fireworks in the second half, but I think the first half will be a little slow.
Yeah, I could see that happening, but I think the scoreboard's going to be lit up all day, and I think the speed of some of Oregon's players gets it done against Auburn's defense.
So we're both picking Oregon to win?
Yeah, I think Oregon gets it done.
Do they cover the 3.5 or no?
Probably. Yeah, they'll cover that.
I don't see them winning by a field goal.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they will win by exactly a field goal. We'll be like, damn it.
Yeah. No, this game will be close, but I think Oregon might get out to a lead, and then Auburn will hang around, and then at some point Oregon's going to turn the gas on and run away with it.
I'm just excited to see these two teams play because when's the last time we had Auburn and Oregon play against each other?
In the national championship, the year Cam Newton was at Oregon, 2010, and that was a great game too.
That is why I'm starting to get that's why I'm getting the tinglies for this one.
Yeah, I believe that's the first time they've played since that game. So it's not that they're like a rivalry or it's like this is a big rematch that everybody's been waiting on or anything, but.
It's just two interesting teams, two interesting dynamics. You're looking at a big SEC defensive team versus, Nike offense, Oregon. So
yeah. Speaking of Oregon and Nike, we got to talk about.
We'll come back to that. We're going to come back to that. Oh yeah, because we still got one more game to cover.
Oh yeah,
most important game of the week.
Yeah, bottom of the barrel game of the week this week. Daryl, tell me about Akron versus Illinois.
Oh, the first thing you need to know about Akron and Illinois, once I find them on this page, where are you? Akron, I'm trying to find it. Akron.
Oh, they're on there. I promise.
Hang on, I'm just going to do a good old-fashioned control search. There you are. First thing you need to know about this game is that Illinois has a giant eye is their logo.
They definitely do.
And it's just it's a very bold. Oh wow, it's actually I didn't expect this. I thought it was going to be more of an even split. Actually, they're saying Illinois is going to run away with this. So they're giving them 89% chance to win over the 13. They're giving them 17 points, man. I don't know. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, I think Illinois gets this done, but
probably. I think it's pretty black and white.
Big Ten team versus one of the worst teams in the MAC. So I think Illinois gets it done.
But then again, the Akron they're the Zips, dude.
Yeah, their mascot is a kangaroo.
Kangaroo? Are you serious?
I think so. I think that's what it is.
Hold on. Akron mascot.
If I'm not mistaken.
Zippy. That's his name. Zicky the... That's a kangaroo. I'm pretty sure it's a kangaroo.
Zippy the what?
It looked like a Chuck E. Cheese nightmare. No, that's absolutely a kangaroo. He's got like a pouch and everything. Let me pull up like a good. You can't see it on this end, but on your end, but you will in post. Yeah. Boy, look at that guy.
Yeah.
Like his normal looking Adidas shoes. Yeah, I'm gonna take Akron just because I have a weird memory of something with spoilers. I have a weird memory of Akron back whenever I was watching football with my dad one time. They won a big game. This was like in 2006. They won a big game they weren't supposed to win, and that was like the first time I was like, wow, a tiny school can win. So I'm going with Akron for that reason.
That's that's fine. Great mascot,
Can't pronounce Illinois' mascot, so.
The Fighting Illini, which is based off of a Native American tribe.
Curious.
So, also shout out to Chris James, the guy we went to high school with, played at Illinois.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I love that. Awesome.
I believe that was his name.
Man.
Yeah.
The name doesn't sound familiar, but I believe you.
But yeah. So.
You know what? There's a bottom of the barrel game. Didn't get as heated this week.
Yeah. You know what, Daryl? We were talking about last week about a layback game, a game you can just put on and watch. What's your layback game of this week?
Recliner game. I just sit back and enjoy. Well, I would like to cop out and say that it's going to be the Oregon-Auburn game because I just kind of either team can win and I wouldn't be offended. But I feel like since we covered that, that's kind of a cop out. So let me go ahead and take a look at this here. I like the Florida State-Boise State game. It's Willie Taggart's second year. He's got a lot to prove in Jimbo's absence. Florida State's got these new really nice white logos, like white numbers on their jerseys, so that's going to be very aesthetically pleasing.
That's not happening until next year, but okay.
Serious?
They're very nice. It's happening in 2020, though.
Change my recliner game now. I was going to give Florida State a big heaping of love, but well, that's disappointing. But I'm still going to stick with that. Florida State, obviously got a lot to prove, and then Boise State historically is just a fun team to watch. Unfortunately, they're going to be they will be. Yeah, they'll be at Florida State. They'll be in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
I wish they were in Boise because then you can get to see that lovely blue field, but then it might break your eyes on the TV. So
yeah, who are you picking in that one? Who do you think's going to get it done?
I'm going Boise State. I think that Willie Taggart still hasn't quite got it. I think that Florida State's still going to be downsliding for another year or so. It's going to be a situation where they just break down and get a new big bad coach in there. You know,
I'm going with that one too. I think Boise State gets it done. My layback game of the week is I am going to lay back and watch my number 6 LSU Tigers beat the dog snot out of Georgia Southern.
Yeah, they probably will do that.
Interesting story about this game. Georgia Southern's quarterback got arrested and kicked off of the team for a substance that police found on the hood of his car that they claimed was cocaine. And he told them it was bird poop, and they didn't believe him. So he got kicked off the team, and they did tests. Turns out it was bird poop. He's been reinstated, and he should play in this game.
What a comeback story, man! What a story of redemption.
What a wild ride! But yeah, LSU was about to put absolute whooping on Georgia Southern. Excuse me.
It's like the epitome of actually.
Yeah, I like Georgia Southern's uniforms though. Picture Alabama's uniforms, but navy blue, and without stripes on the pants.
Well, that's classy.
Yeah, looks really good.
Georgia Southern.
Yeah,
just uniform. Google does not really get the search term very often. I get the feeling that is clean. I'm a big fan of that. Oh man, look at that.
Yeah. Speaking about uniforms, I'm a big uniform guy. I like uniforms. I like things that people are doing. And in the past, I've liked some of the crazy stuff that Oregon has done and some of the crazy stuff that some of these other teams have done. But there's just something to be said about some of the classic uniforms in college football. Your Texas with, just the burnt orange jerseys and then the icy whites. Your Penn States, your Alabamas, things like that. There's just something to be said about the classic look. When you see the TV, you know who's playing, But again, I'm a uniform guy, so I also like what Oregon and other teams like that are doing. Speaking of Oregon, their uniforms that they're switching to this year are.
Sorry, I haven't been listening. I haven't been listening. I've been looking at this Georgia Southern uniform for the past 2 minutes while you're talking. It is so clean, dude.
Yeah, it's good looking, man.
I'm totally messing with you. I know. I like the classics too. There's something to be said about just a very basic, Yeah. It's just the history behind it, There's a tradition behind it.
Yeah. And the way I describe it, Georgia Southern is Adidas Alabama. And
that's
navy
a good
blue.
This is.
It's clean, man.
I might watch this game just to see these damn uniforms, man.
Oh, well, they're going to be there wearing their all-white uniform. No, they'll be wearing their navy blue because LSU wears white at home. So,
Nice.
but yeah, these uniforms that Oregon's wearing this season,
let me tell you.
Gosh, they are beautiful.
That is a sensual uniform right there.
Yes, sir. What are they calling these? What? Some Nike's got some crazy name for them?
There's a couple different names. There's a... let me go. Give them nightmares. This is the... What is it? Green Nightmare.
That nightmare green. Oh, it's Chef's Kiss. It's beautiful. I love it. Fusion. Yeah.
I mean, let me go find the one image. There's one here. It's the yellow uniform, and the way they have the numbers, with the sort of like darker black trim on the inside, with sort of that like
the nightmare green charcoal on the outside. Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good.
Those helmets, those green helmets with the nightmare green wings on them, are gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got like a matted like a matte green all the way around it, and then the wing is like actual like a chrome,
Yeah, it's I love it. I mean, they're Nike's poster child. They get all the new stuff that Nike gets. And
if I could compare the college football uniforms to like a food, Oregon is like absolutely the supreme pizza with everything on it,
except for olives.
Except for olives. I mean, Oregon is like the main lobster,
Yeah.
Like and they have the main course.
Yeah, and then for sure, and like the way I would describe it is like Oregon's uniforms are what I order at Waffle House, and Alabama's uniforms are just like a steak.
And they just fix you up. It's like classical music versus rock and roll.
For sure, yeah. So
that is icy. I gotta stop looking at these before I mind a little bit.
Yeah, man. So,
brother, I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
Nah, man. I think that's gonna do it for me.
Actually, hang on. I messed up the recording again.
Anything you got to talk about?
No, man. I think that's about all I've got. You got anything?
Nope. I'm good.
We covered a lot this episode. I feel like we covered a lot of things.
Yeah. And just PSA for everybody watching and or listening. We apologize about the audio issues on last week's show. They've been fixed. And
I also apologize for any new audio issues that may happen on this week's episode.
Yeah, but they've been fixed, and I'm also here to remind you that we are not experts at any of this. We will be eventually, but not right now.
To get a year in, this is our first time as head coaches, and
yes,
you can just expect us to come in and change your program and take you to a national championship because
so
don't even know your names yet.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to do question to our viewers. What is a tradition that your team has that you like a lot? What is the favorite tradition that you have about your team and your program, the team that you follow?
Or superstition.
Yes. Tell us about that, and let us know.
We've got some of those.
Follow us on Facebook at the Gameday Breakfast. Emmett, you got to move. My dog was scratching next to me.
Just trying to come in and do a plug for the channel.
Yes, sir. So, but that's all I got.
Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Next week, we'll be talking about the next round of games and whatever other wacky nonsense and poor opinions that we can come up with.
Yes, sir. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.